What is up, everybody, and welcome to the first ever Dudes Who Bet Sports.
So you want to bet sports, but you need some advice on how to cash in big at a heck of a price. Well, if you want enough money to line your shorts, then you're in the right place. This is Dudes Who Bet Sports. Dudes Who Bet Sports, it's your favorite show. Dudes Who Bet Sports, where degenerates go. Dudes Who Bet Sports, time to change your approach with Aaron Halterman and his father, the coach. Let's ride.
Well, the Associated Press is full of shit.
What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the Dudes Who Bet Sports show. It's Tuesday. You know what that means. We're a little bit early today, but we are here. Papa Dude joining us live from Daytona Beach. How's it going down there?
Fantastic, as usual. Have managed to see, I've been there since, Friday, I think. No, Thursday of last week, and have not gotten terribly sunburned. So that's a good thing. And we're having a great trip. Weather's been perfect. You know, sometimes you come to Florida, rains a little bit. Hadn't rained hardly at all. It's been great. And, man, what a trip you've been on. You've seen some of the best races there is at the best racetrack in the world. So you've had quite a trip, too.
This is true. You're right. You're right. Capped off by last weekend, which was great. Of course, life was good. And the Whitney was unbelievable. We saw Dwayne Lucas win a stakes on Sunday. The horse couldn't do it easily, but was able to do it. Trying to fist bump us on the grandstand side there, running out towards the outside of the track, to say the least. I saw my buddy Kelly Von Hemel, because Ain't Life Grand is here. So, I mean, it's amazing.
Did you see Kelly at the track?
Yes.
Oh, you did. Oh, he has got. Listen, we got to talk about him a minute. He's got to be elated, don't you? I mean, I bet he's just all smiles, wasn't he?
He played it cool for a while. But yes, he's grinning from ear to ear.
Oh my God!
I saw him on Sunday, Saturday morning. Ain't Life Grand left Iowa, and they drove straight through to Saratoga. And then Kelly jumped on a plane and was here on Sunday. The horse was walking the track, or walked the track, I should say, Saturday and Sunday. And had a little jog this morning over the track. So working on Saturday, that's the schedule right now. So in a few days, he'll have his first work. The smart thing, if they're going to run him, bring him. To the track, right?
What a beautiful animal he looked. I've not seen him in person. Just I saw him, the thing he put on Twitter of him loading him up. Golly, he looks the part to me. You've seen him. Yeah. Is that impressive in person?
He's beautiful. He's absolutely a beautiful horse. From day one, they told me this horse is really, really good. He's a little bit different from anything we've had in recent times, for sure. And it was just overjoy, really, for him. You know, Kelly's he's a calm guy. He's not gonna get all crazy on you. But yeah, he certainly he was smiling. And the coolest thing,
go ahead.
His first owner in Iowa, was Ray and Peggy Shattuck.
Is that right?
Yes, and they have this horse.
Oh.
I've met them personally. Been out to dinner with them several times. The nicest people you could ever meet. Kelly said he first joined up with Kelly in 1996.
Wow.
And they've trained some really good Iowa breds. The Shaddocks own the mare, so who's also in foal again, to not this time. So there will be a full sibling to Ain't Life Grand coming up this year, or January, I guess, whenever that foal will be born. So yeah, it's a really good story, and let's hope that the horse runs well. Yeah,
I'd like to have asked Kelly, to be honest. Kelly, in April, did you think he would be in Saratoga in August? I would have heard what he would have.
I said, hey, meet me at the paddock bar. I'm over here, and he was with some clients, and so he came over to meet me. And I said, this is a face I did not think I would see this year up here at Saratoga. And he said, believe me, I didn't either.
An honest man, no doubt about it.
And he said, he was flat out. He said, look, we're a long shot. There's no doubt. But he said, I'll tell you two things. He can run 1.25 miles. I have no worries about that.
Sure.
He got a 98 buyer in the Iowa Derby. And it matches up with these horses. So why would we not give it a shot?
Give it a shot. As Dwayne says, you got to be in it to win it. So
Right.
That is true. And one other thing, let's see, 2 weekends ago, you saw the Steve Asmussen show with Clariere, and now Epicenter vaulted back to the front of the, horse of the year, maybe 3-year-old horse of the year, and a favorite in the Travers, and ran fantastic. And then you got to see Dwayne. Every time I see him go to the winner's circle, I cringe just a little bit because, he's 87 and he's starting to look it. Wouldn't you agree?
Yeah.
Aaron? And it's sad. And I mean, I hope I can do that at 87. Don't get me wrong. The guy's it's amazing what he can do, but he's slowing down. And it's a sad thing to see. But hopefully this horse is really, really good.
Yeah, I think she is. She ran really, really well and won the Adirondack. And you're right, he is aging a little bit. But, yeah, for 87, he's doing okay. I think the deal is he never really aged until,
exactly
20, Yeah. So even when he was 84, he still was acting pretty young.
I really believe that COVID episode knocked him back because he hasn't looked the same since he got COVID and almost died a couple of years ago. So
Dennis has also said, Lucas's assistant is really great too. He is. Bass Nichols is his name, and he is a very, very nice, friendly person. I think he's a really, really good horseman. He's very good as well. Yeah.
Agree with you, Mark. I totally agree with you. Above ground at 87 is a blessing. You better believe it.
That's right.
And still able to do the thing he loves the most, and that's an incredible life. No doubt about it.
And you're right. It's been a great trip. I was kind of reflecting back on what we'd seen at Saratoga. Got to see Nest, obviously, and that was a lot of fun to watch her. Speaking of Lucas, that was not the best day for Dwayne, I would say, but it was a good day for me to see Nest. And then Jackie's Warrior horse.
Forgot about what a horse.
Center. Yeah, life is good. So it's been fun.
Was that not a gutty performance by that horse Saturday? Life is good.
I certainly thought it was. A lot of people are being very critical of it. Thought he didn't run very well. It's like I don't know what more you want him to do. He won a grade 1 race that a lot of y'all were picking against him, and he won. And he really never was in too much of trouble. And listen, that was a very taxing race course. When that rain came, it poured, guys, and it did for a while. And that track was they had it rated fast, I think, but it was not. It got real heavy real quick after that rain.
Didn't he have some issues after the race? Didn't I read that somewhere where they thought he had gotten too hot or something? Did I?
Yeah, he got hot. He was pretty hot. People that weren't at Saratoga this weekend, boy, it was like 92 or 93, but it felt like 100. It was hot and it was humid, and a lot of the horses kind of struggled with it. And again, after that, from the 8th race on, when the horses that ran over the dirt, that track played really oddly. What happened was they sealed the track, but it really came down hard. And you got to run 3 races, boom, boom, boom on it. And I just think there's not much you can do with it at that time. And they did their best, but that was just a torrential downpour for a good 15 minutes when that happened. So I would look at those 3 races and remember that going forward, that it was a pretty taxing race course. The other speed and some of those other races did not hold up, where Life is Good did hold up. So take it for what you want to take it for.
That's right. You went a grade 1. You did pretty well.
Yeah. But like I said, we've had a good week. You're in Florida. I'm up here still. So it's been very good. So, and Jason says Pletcher hosed him down himself right away. His hind legs seemed to be tightening up. And Jason would know because he was standing right there watching. So,
Jason, congratulations. What a weekend you had, too.
Yeah. Jason had a very good weekend. It was a lot of fun. I said it on Magic Mike. Saturday at the track was one of the better days ever.
No kidding.
Yeah. And I also what's that?
I forgot to mention that.
Yeah.
How you cashed in. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. And I was going to tell you, I also met an individual, and it was later in the day, and I don't remember your name. So if you're watching, I greatly apologize. I could pick you out of a lineup, but I don't remember your name. But a graduate from Joplin High School.
Are you kidding?
No, and loves the shows and everything we do. So that was
really fantastic.
To meet him as well. So
yeah.
Good times all around. Well, let's get into this. You want to get back to your vacation, I'm sure, so we'll knock out this show as we're going to do the win totals for the ACC conference today. Also, Notre Dame and BYU. We're going to throw them in there as well. Of course, not in a conference, these two, but we definitely want to talk about them. They should have good seasons. And, we'll see. Oh, also, I've got a surprise for you from Shoddy.
Oh, okay.
Shoddy sent us all presents. And I have yours. And I would show you mine, but it might give away yours. So
okay.
Yeah.
Well, I can't wait.
All right.
I think I can't wait anyway. Hey, we got to mention the OU thing for just a second.
Oh yeah, get it. Yeah. So if you haven't seen that, go ahead.
You want to do it at the end?
Well, we can do it right now if you want to.
Well, I think we need to talk about it for just a second, since we're OU fans. And we've got some people on here that are college football people, and it's really a tough situation. I'm assuming everybody has heard what happened. And Cale Gundy was an assistant coach at OU for 23 years, and quarterback back in the mid '90s, legend in Norman, Oklahoma. And it's just amazing to me that he got himself in such a situation. Isn't it, you, Aaron? A guy that's been around so long.
Yeah.
You have done what he allegedly did, and we're only speculating exactly what happened. It hadn't come out yet, but it's pretty obvious. You know, it's just, I can't believe he did what he did. He's the nicest man in the world. And I was thinking this morning, he's the last guy on that coaching staff I would ever think would ever do anything like that. Wouldn't you agree?
1,000%. And it seems like from the players that are former and current players that have stuck up for him since this resignation happened, they are just like, no, don't do this. Like, this is crazy. Like, this guy, you know, this is the furthest thing from a racist, is what they basically said. So you can guess the word that was said and what happened here. It's one of those things after the comments from Venables and some people, I just feel like there was probably enough there where they had to do it. So I'm not going to criticize what has happened, but I am in shock that it's happened to Cale Gundy, a guy that for all intents and purposes, I mean, he's coached there 23 years. Mm-hmm. I've never even seen an ounce of controversy in any fashion from this guy. And like I said, so many former and current players sticking up for him, saying this was a mistake and this is not right. What's happened, so I feel terrible for him personally.
Because it's you hate a guy who's squeaky clean, and you hate for a guy that's been squeaky clean to now is going to be remembered for this, and it's not fair. But when you see so many black athletes from OU come out in favor of him, and my favorite was Joe Mixon. Yeah. And Joe Mixon, for those of you that don't remember, got in all kinds of trouble the first year he was there for hitting a woman, which is never, ever, ever, ever the right thing to do. Yep. And Bob Stoops suspended him for a year and got roundly criticized for not kicking him off the team. Yep. Anyway, Mixon stayed on the team, couldn't participate in anything for a year. And I'm firmly convinced Cale Gundy saved Joe Mixon from what Joe Mixon said in the tweet that he came forward with. And Joe Mixon has turned into a fine human being. Yep. And Stoops gave him a second chance. Whether you agree with that or not is not the issue here. But Mixon has turned into a fine human being and gave Gundy all the credit in the world. He said he was at OU for 1,000 days, and Gundy was with him every single day. Yep. And so many players have said that. And it's just, having coached for so many years, the player, whoever was, must have been a problem before for Gundy to have reacted the way he did. Mm-hmm. He must have caused some problems, some issues before. Because sometimes kids just frustrate you so much that you just kind of lose it, which he did. So it's a very, very sad situation. I think Gundy really I think he kind of shined with the ones that
were a little bit of trouble, and he really tried to take it because D.D. Westbrook was a kid that I don't think he was in like major trouble, like Mixon got in some major trouble, but I think D.D. had some troubles staying focused, let's say, and having the best habits. And he also came out and said a very similar thing. He said that, this person was with me every day when I was at OU trying to get me on the right path. So
absolutely.
It's tough.
Yeah.
It's tough, but
I'm firmly convinced he's not racist. It's just a issue. You just cannot do it. It is that simple. You can't.
Exactly.
And, Ryan Broyles is another one that came out. I don't know if you saw that this morning, but Broyles was in trouble, had been in a little bit of trouble with the law before, and he was another one that came out in Gundy's corner. So,
Ryan Broyles is another one that he got suspended an entire year as well, his first year at OU. So, and again, kind of goes to what I was saying with he really tried to work with those kinds and tried to get them on the right path, and he succeeded with these three that we're talking about right now.
Yeah.
Not everybody, obviously, you're gonna help, but it is what it is. I mean, he took it over the line. I'm sure. If he didn't, they wouldn't have had this kind of reaction to it. So
exactly. Yeah.
His boss said there was no choice. So I mean, that's it. Right?
Absolutely. Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. And that's it's unfortunate.
It is. For a guy of his character for so long, to now have to go through this, and I think there was a lot of what's the word I'm trying to think of? There was a lot of decision making that they didn't want to do this. So I'm trying to say there was a lot of grief behind all this. I guarantee you.
Yeah. It seemed like it. And he survived several different, well, not several, but this was his third different coach. So coaching change, usually all the assistants are gone. Gundy went through all of them. So,
you remember Aaron back when Riley left and they hired Venables. We were talking on this very show, I think, and we said, well, there's no doubt in my mind Cale Gundy will be back on that staff.
Yeah.
I knew he would. I knew they would. If he wanted to stay at OU, he would be there. And Venables didn't even back off. He's sure, because he had worked with him before. So anyway. Yeah,
all right. Well, we could go around and round on it, but it's an unfortunate situation for everybody involved, and hopefully everybody moves on. Hopefully Cale, gets a chance somewhere, or whatever Cale wants to do. Hopefully he gets a chance.
Well,
right?
A lot of people are speculating his brother coaches up the road at Oklahoma State. There might be a job open one of these days up there. So,
well, jobs come open every year, so I would say that would be interesting, and always kind of a weird dynamic when OU and OSU plays, and it's you got the Gundys on each side of it, so that'd be interesting. That'd be interesting for sure. All right, let's move on. Let's go to the ACC. Russ, hey, come on. Let's see. He wants to take the unders on all of these, so we'll see here.
He may be right.
All right, let's kick it off with Boston College.
Okay.
Boston College, line is at 6.5. They went 6-6 last year. It seems like they're 6-6 every year. What do you think about Boston College this season?
Well, you just said it. 6-6, 7-5. That's their ceiling, right? So, can you hear me?
Yep.
Okay. So you got to look at the non-conference schedule, see how many wins they can get out of that, because they're going to do the same thing in the ACC every year. They're going to win a few and lose a few. Mm-hmm. So they got Rutgers at home. They have Maine, and they have Connecticut. All three at home. You got to think they're going to win those three. They're going to win two for sure. So I'm going to give them credit. They're going to beat Rutgers. That's not a given. Then they got to go to Notre Dame. I don't see that happening. Now they have Clemson at home. They have to go to Wake. They have to go to North Carolina State, and they got to go to Virginia Tech. Got to go to Florida State. I don't see a lot of wins there. If they win all their home games, which is Rutgers, Maine, Louisville, UConn, Duke, and Syracuse, that's winnable, right? Would you agree they could win all 6 of those? Can they win one of those other 6? This is right where I've got them, as usual. I'm gonna say under. I'm gonna go 6.
Yeah, I went under as well. On this one. I think there are 4 or 5 pretty good teams this year in the ACC, and I think the rest of them are not good at all. So I think it's going to be hard for Boston College to pull an upset that's going to be needed to get there. I got them at 6, so yeah, I'm going to go the under as well. Sorry if I cut out there for a second. Internet's still a little shaky. We're back going now, though.
I was afraid it might be mine. So
well, you're good. Mine, I got the little signal saying that the internet connection.
Okay.
It is back now. I think we're good. So yeah, I'm going to go under as well with the Boston College Eagles. All right, let's go on to the team that, really one of the only teams that matters in this in this conference, and that is Clemson. 10.5 is the number for Clemson. Last year they were 10-3, and Dabo Swinney has done a very, very good job. Such a good job that 10-3 was a down year for Clemson. You would build a statue of the coach if they went 10-3 at Clemson. You look at the losses, even though they were, quote unquote poor for the standards that he's built. They lost to the number 1 team in the nation and the eventual national champions in Georgia by 7. They lost a double overtime game at North Carolina State, and they lost by 10 to Pittsburgh, was a pretty good team. Other than that, they won all their other games. They were very inexperienced last year, very experienced this year. Quarterback Big Cinco was the Big Stinko, as you called him, for most of last season. Can he turn that around? What about the Clemson Tigers? What do you think? 10.5 over or under?
Let's look at what we got here. All right. 2 key games. Well, first of all, let's look at the non-conference schedule. Furman, yeah, that's a toughie. Louisiana Tech, both at home, of course. And then they got the rival game with South Carolina this year. That's in Clemson. So you got to think they're going to win those 3.
They also have Georgia Tech, so that's 4.
Oh, is Georgia Tech a non-conference game? Georgia Tech's in the ACC.
Well, they had this listed as never mind.
Well, some of these ACC
My magazine had them listed as a non-conference game.
I
don't think that's correct.
First of all, in the ACC, you play an ACC team, and it's not a conference game.
Right.
So the other non-conference game, though, that we know for sure is Notre Dame,
right?
And it's on the road. But their schedule is not, it's not just terribly tough. They got to go to Wake Forest. Is a Clemson team that's good going to lose to Wake Forest? I don't think so. Got Miami at home. They're overrated. They got North Carolina State, which I think is pretty good at home. The other game, and I always, I shouldn't say this, but I always rate Florida State too high. They got to go there, and who knows what they're going to be. All right, here's the thing for me. How good is the quarterback?
Yeah.
That's the whole key. They got talent. We know that. They got players all over the place, and their defense is going to be great.
Yep.
So how good is the quarterback? He'll be the key. And they got to replace both coordinators. They lost the offensive coordinator. I think he went to Virginia, I believe. Mm-hmm. And then Venables went to Oklahoma. So anytime you got to replace both coordinators, it's a little bit of a question mark. 10.5's a lot for a quarterback that's shaky. I'm going to go under. I got him at 10.
I think the quarterback is going to be the key. And I think I think a lot of Clemson fans are speculating that Cade Klubnik could come in and be the starter by the time this thing's all over. He's a true freshman, but he was there for the spring. Also, Hunter Johnson, a guy that was at Clemson, then went to Northwestern, and now is back to Clemson. I think he might be the quarterback. So I think there is a little bit of controversy. Dabo Swinney says no, it's definitely going to be DJ that's going to start. I think the big key's the offensive line. They were really bad at offensive line last season. I think with the experience they gained, they're going to be a lot better. I think they're the big dogs again in the ACC. I'm going over 10.5 with Clemson. I think they're gonna kind of rebound, so to speak, and have a pretty good season. I did confirm. My magazine's got the schedule in 2 different places. Georgia Tech was listed as a non-conference in one and a conference game in the other. It is a conference game.
Okay.
And like you said, sometimes they will play games within ACC, and it is not a conference game. That is not the case with this one. So,
got it.
There you go. So I'm going over. You're going under. All right, let's go with the team here that has a new coach, the Duke Blue Devils. No longer Cutcliffe. He has retired. He's out. Mike Elko takes over as the head coach now. As the Duke Blue Devils, they kind of had it going for a bit. The last 3 years have not been good. COVID really kind of screwed up their program. They were 2-9 in the COVID year, 3-9 last year. They're replacing some guys. I don't know. This over-under total is at 3. Where do you think Duke falls this year?
Well, that's about what they are, I think. They got Temple and North Carolina A&T at home.
Yep.
Shall we give them those two?
Yep.
Okay. Then the other 2 non-conference games are winnable, but they're on the road. They have to go to Northwestern. I don't think they beat them.
Mm-mm.
And then the Kansas game. It's at Kansas. Kansas showed some life a little bit last year. This is a game they could win. So those are iffy, which really kills them. When you look at their non-conference schedule, here's their home games. Virginia, that I think is going to be pretty good. Virginia Tech, North Carolina, and Wake Forest. Those are the games that are at home at Duke. Can they win any of those? Maybe one. Maybe. Can you see them winning more than that?
The Virginia game's interesting to me. I think they could win that one. I don't know what North Carolina is going to be.
I don't either.
Um,
That's a rival, too. More in
Past
basketball.
those two, I'm not sure.
Yeah, and then on the road, Miami, Pitt. They
Yeah.
could beat Georgia Tech. They could.
Maybe.
They got Boston College. So if they could somehow beat Northwestern, but I just don't think they can. But I don't want to push because I got them. I'm going to give them the benefit of the doubt. I do like their coach. I'm going to give them the benefit of the doubt. This is a dumb thing to do for Duke, but I'm going to go over. I'm going to give them 4.
I'm going to go under. I'll take 2 and 2.
Right.
I think Kansas is a little bit further along than Duke.
I can't
However
argue.
you want to look at that. I think Kansas can beat them. I think if anything, I push here, but I'll take the under. I don't think they get to 4.
I just didn't want to push. I think 3 is where they're going to be.
Well, in that regard, if you think they're going to win 3, you might as well take the over because it's plus 100 versus minus 120 for the under. So, I mean, if you really want to sit there and root for Duke to win 4 games this year and go through that agony, go ahead.
Well, I think the best thing to do is don't bet that one.
I don't have any interest in betting this Duke over under.
No, that's what I'm saying. Yes, absolutely.
All right. Let's move on. Florida State. Boy, what used to be, right? This Florida State program. And they have not had a winning season at Florida State since 2017. That's incredible. Mike Norvell has survived somehow through a 3-6 and 5-7, for his first 2 years here. They've got a lot of guys back. They've got the quarterback back. Jordan Travis is not, he's not awful. 6.5 wins. Boy, you would think Florida State could get over this, but what do you think?
You would think, playing in the ACC, Florida State would have enough talent to get over that, wouldn't you?
Yes.
If he doesn't get over it, he won't be back for year 4. I don't think. And I think he's a pretty good coach. I do. They've had a lot of things happen. And Russ said a while ago, how in the world can they be that bad?
Yeah.
And he's absolutely right. But Russ, before Bobby Bowden came along, they were bad for years and years and years. And then he turned it around, and Jimbo kind of extended it there for a while, and now they just haven't been able to keep it going. When you look at the state of Florida, how is Florida that bad? They were awful last year. So your king schools in Florida and Florida State are both down. What does that tell us? That tells us that Georgia, Alabama, some of these other schools are going down and plucking the best Florida players out of the state because we know how good Florida football is. All right, to get back to this, they have a very difficult non-conference schedule. They got LSU and they got Florida. And those are tough games. Now, they are at home. I think the LSU game's in New Orleans.
Mm-hmm.
I think it is. The Florida game's at home. They got Duquesne. They got Louisiana. I don't know if they're good enough to beat Louisiana. So I don't know. I always overrate them because I remember Florida State. I know they have athletes. I know the quarterback's pretty good.
Yeah.
The schedule is really tough. They do have Clemson at home. 6.5. I got faith in the coach. I think the quarterback's pretty good. I'm going to go 7. I'm going over.
The critical games are going to come on the road, I think, for Florida State, at least for them to get to the 7 mark. Can they go to Miami and win? Right? Like that's.
I got that as a loss.
Can they go to Louisville and win?
That's a key game.
I mean, it's a Friday night in Louisville, and they're coming off a game against LSU. They do have a bye, but they're coming off a tough game.
Yeah. Well, that's one they have to win if they're going to get to 7. So I'm banking. Yeah, they got to beat Wake Forest.
Yeah, I don't know if they can beat Wake Forest.
Well, that's obviously you're going under.
I'm going under. I think there's too many games that are a toss-up for them, and that's the thing. Like, can they get? If they go 7-5, is it really going to shock me? No, but I look at this and it's like, Wake Forest is a better team, right? Like they were a better team last year, and they've got everybody back. We're going to talk about Wake in a minute. I think they beat Florida State at home. I really, or at Florida State. North Carolina State, they're a good team. I don't think they're going to beat them.
I don't think they'll win that one. No.
So Clemson goes in there. They're not going to beat Clemson. I don't think so. I could be dead wrong on them, and I'm going under. I don't believe in them. I really don't. So we'll see if they can prove me wrong. All right, let's go now, I should say, to Georgia Tech. They're another team that's not been good recently. New coaching staff has went 3-9, 3-7, and 3-9. So you'd have to think Jeff Collins is on the hot seat. It's his 4th year here. They don't have a lot back on either side of the ball. They do have Jeff Sims back at quarterback. We'll see if he can kind of improve. It was not terrible last season. They've got him at 3.5. Last year they were at 3-9. Do the Yellow Jackets improve this season?
You want to have a non-conference schedule that's going to get you fired at Georgia Tech. Here it is. Mm-hmm. At Georgia. You play them every year, so you don't really want to schedule anybody else when you play Georgia every year. Yeah. But you got Mississippi, and you got to go to Central Florida, and you're not very good. And your only game that you might win is Western Carolina. So I only see one non-conference win. It's hard for me to find very many ACC wins. They might beat Duke at home. I don't see another one. I'm going, what is it, 3.5? I got them at 3. I'm under.
I'm under too. I don't believe in this in the coach, and I don't believe in Georgia Tech. And I think, when they had Paul Johnson, they probably were a little bit like, we're so like behind the times and this and that. I think that option type of offense and being a little bit unique is how they can win. Mm-hmm. I think they're in a tough spot. It's not a traditional school. You have to compete with Georgia, and you're in an ACC where you're not as a traditional power like some of the teams that are in there. Even like a Miami or a Florida State, they're probably going to get players over Georgia Tech, even though they're struggling. I don't know. I think that offense was probably perfect for Georgia Tech, and that's why they had success while he was there. So I'm going under. I don't think they're going to have a very good season at all. So, all right, let's move on to Dennis's team. Dennis has been waiting.
Yep.
The Louisville Cardinals coming off a 6-7 season. Scott Satterfield gets ready for the 4th year here in the program. They've been to a bowl 2 of the 3 years he's been the head coach. 2020, the COVID year, they did not make a bowl. They went 4-7. They've got 7 back on both sides of the ball. Malik Cunningham, pretty solid quarterback here, 6.5. What do you think about the Cardinals?
All right, since Dennis is here, we'll dive into this a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
All right, here's your non-conference. South Florida at Louisville. That's a win, right?
Yep. James
Madison. Louisville should be able to beat one guy.
Yep.
James is getting kind of old, so I think that's a win. All right, now their other 2, though, are tough. They got to go to Central Florida, and that'll be a tough game. And Kentucky's playing pretty well. That's a rivalry game, so anything could happen.
Yeah.
But those are iffy at best. So let's, for the benefit of the doubt, say they're 2-2. Okay, after those 4. Then they got to go to Clemson. Don't think so, do you?
No.
And here's a key game. Can they beat North Carolina State at Louisville? North Carolina State's going to be pretty good, I think.
Yeah.
So let's say they split that. Let's say they do. So now they're 3-3. If they're 3-3, they're in good shape. All right, now here's the toss-ups. Okay, any game's a toss-up when you're not real good and you go on the road. It's that simple. You can lose. So you got to go to Syracuse. I don't think they're going to be very good, so I think they can win there. Boston College and Virginia are the other two on the road, very difficult. Florida State, Pittsburgh, Wake are all in Louisville, and they could lose all three of those, or they could win all three.
Yeah.
So it's those toss-up games are going to be the deciding thing. I think 7 is a little too much. I'm gonna go under. I think they get to 6.
I'm going under as well, even though the big Dennis fan says he called them last year under and was correct. This year he's thinking over. They might get 6, 7, or even 8. I think they get 6, and for what we're doing right here, 6 would put them under. So another team, they're a lot like who were we talking about earlier? They were a lot like Florida State, where every game, not every game, but almost all the games seemed like a toss-up. And when that happens, I always go under.
Yeah.
So I'm going under. Sorry, Dennis, for the Cardinals this year. All right.
Yeah.
Let's move on. Miami's next. They got a new coach, Mario Cristobal. That's who they really wanted. He is back in Miami here, or in the state of Florida, I should say, and Miami as well. Not as a head, or not wasn't previously a head coach at Miami, but has been on the staff. This is going to be interesting. Mario Cristobal left Oregon for Miami. They've got 7 back on both sides of the ball. They've got Tyler Van Dyke back. Their over-under is 8.5. What do you think, Papa Dude? They went 7-5 a year ago. Can they get to 8.5 or more than 8.5 this year?
Well, I think they have a chance when you look at their schedule. They got Bethune-Cookman, Southern Mississippi, and Middle Tennessee all in Miami. So that's 3 wins. You got to win that. You got to win those 3. Here's their I've got 4 more that I think they're going to win. North Carolina's in Miami, Duke's at Miami, Florida State's at Miami, and they should win at Georgia Tech. So there's 7 right there. Now it's going to come down. Oh, and then there's Pitt. There's Pitt. That's a toss-up, I think. But I've got that as a win. They should win that game. They should. It's in Miami. All right, so it comes down to these 4. I don't think they're going to beat Texas A&M at Texas A&M. I don't think they'll beat Clemson. And then it comes down to Virginia Tech and Virginia. Both of those are on the road. What is it, 8.5?
Yeah.
I think they can win 9. I think they can win 9, so I'm going to go over.
I'm going over as well, and it's not because I think Mario Cristobal is like this great coach, but I just think they're going to naturally be better than they were a year ago. They've got experience. Like I said, they got the quarterback situation settled last year. Tyler Van Dyke, towards the end of the season, was playing pretty well, and you look at how they finished. They finished the season 5-1, so they got on a roll. They did lose their bowl game to Oklahoma State, but listen, Oklahoma State was a damn good – or I'm sorry, they didn't go to a bowl last year. I thought where am I reading that? Maybe their bowl got canceled last year. So, anyway, that they did finish the season strong. So,
Oklahoma State.
Did they play Oklahoma State last year?
I don't see a bowl game on there. They must have got called off.
2 years ago. I think the last bowl was Oklahoma State. But anyway,
okay.
Anyway, 5-1 to end the season last year, and it was because the quarterback got to playing. So I think they're going to play better. I think they will be over as well. So we're both going to go over on this one. All right, let's move on to the Fighting Mac Browns, North Carolina Tar Heels. Last season, one of the most disappointing teams in the country. They went 6-7 after being hyped as a team that could finish in the top 10. It was a disaster. They lose, a lot of players on offense. They've got some players back on defense. That's a high total for them, 7.5. What do you think of the Tar Heels?
Well, I think that's because Brown's the coach. That's why it's up there 7.5. He is a great recruiter. They had a lot of quality players the last 2 years that are in the pros now. Now, he recruited well again, but they were not very good last year. Their defense is terrible. They were terrible. They lost their quarterback. 7.5's a bunch. Tough non-conference schedule. They got Notre Dame on there. This is a tricky game. They got to go to Appalachian State. This will probably be early in the year, and when you're not any good, you think Appalachian State's not going to be ready for that one? They're going to be ready for that game. I don't know where they win that. Now, Florida A&M, Georgia State's not bad either, and they got to go on the road. So I don't like this team very well. I don't see Clemson on the schedule, so that helps. They got to go to Miami. I'm going under.
Yeah, even like I said, a game like Georgia State, they did go 8-5 last year. They weren't too bad, and they've got a lot of players back. I'm going under for North Carolina State as well. That's a lot of wins. I think they get 6, maybe 7, but that's where it ends for me. So I'm going under on the Tar Heels this year as well. Who knows? They could surprise us though. Last year they were supposed to be good and they weren't. This year maybe they flipped the script on us.
I think recruiters in the area there now that they recruit in are starting to hold Mac Brown's age against him a little bit. Mac's getting pretty old. He probably is getting close to 70, wouldn't you think?
Yeah,
he's been around a long time.
Forever. Yeah.
Yeah, so he may be getting pushed towards retirement a little sooner than he wants to. I still think he does a good job, though.
We'll see. This is going to be a tough season for him, I think. I don't know how they're going to be. So, all right, let's move on. North Carolina State, their over-under is 8.5. They had a great season last year for them. They went 9-3, really played well. Some of the games they lost were heartbreakers, really close losses, or they could have had just a real special season. They got 7 back on offense. They've got 10 back on defense. Devin Leary, a very solid quarterback. He is also back for them as well. He was on honorable mention ACC last year. I like this team. What about you?
I do too. This is a program that's pretty consistent. They just don't ever win big games, but they're 6, 7, 8, 9 win teams every year. They're in the bowl games almost every year. They very seldom have a bad season. And it's just one of those schools where they can win. And it could be because they're in the ACC. I don't know. But I think they're an underrated program. They got 3 non-conference games. They got to go to East Carolina. That's a rivalry type thing, but they should win. And Charleston Southern and UConn. Those are 3. Key game will be Texas Tech, but that's at home. They should beat them. Is that at home? I've got that over there as a toss-up game, and I don't think I've. Okay, they'll beat them at home. There's 4 wins right there. Then I've got 4 more at Syracuse. They should win. Virginia Tech, they should win that one at home. Here's a key one. I think they beat Wake Forest there. And then the Boston College at home. So they got 8 wins. And then you get your 4. Florida State is in North Carolina State. I think they beat them. That's 9. You go to Louisville. That'll be a toughie. North Carolina, they got to go there. That's a rivalry game. And then at Clemson. What are they? They are at 8.5. God, yes. I could see them winning 10. I'm going over.
Maybe they're the North Carolina school that disappoints this year, but I don't think so. I'm going over this 8.5 as well. I think they get to 9 wins. So I'm with you on that one as well. So I'm going to go with the 8.5 over for North Carolina State. I think they're going to be a pretty good team this year. So we'll see.
I think they be the second best team. They might be the second best team in the ACC.
They could be. They definitely could be the big challenger to Clemson this year. It's going to be them or Wake Forest, I think. So we'll see how it plays out. All right, let's go to Pittsburgh now. Pittsburgh, last year, a very, very good year. They ended up winning the ACC. Of course, they had a great quarterback that was able to kind of pull them up past where they usually are, and that was Kenny Pickett. He's off to Pittsburgh, not the Panthers, but the Steelers. So they replace him with Caden Slovis, transfer from USC. So we'll see if he can kind of live up to the hype that he's had early on in his career. Really has played solid for a program that was in shambles last year specifically. But anyway, a lot of people back, other than Pickett. 8.5 wins for the defending ACC champs. What do you think Pittsburgh will be like?
I think they're going to drop back to what Pittsburgh usually is. Last year was kind of a fluke, I think, because they had the great quarterback. They also lost a great receiver, the Addison kid who Lincoln Riley plucked. They sent him to USC. Their schedule's tough. Got 2 easy non-conference games at Western Michigan and Rhode Island, and then 2 that they could lose. They are at home. They have West Virginia, and they have Tennessee. And both of those games are huge for the other teams. If West Virginia can go in Pittsburgh and win, that will boost their season, and it's an absolute must-win for Tennessee to go in there and beat them. So I think those are the games that are going to decide their season. I think 8.5 is too much. I think they lost too many players. The schedule's pretty tough. I'm going under.
Yeah, I've got them slated at 8-4. I think you look at the schedule and you think, well, they could definitely win 10 because those tough games you talked about were at home. But end of the day, I think Pittsburgh kind of does, and you said it best, kind of slides back to where they normally are with that 7-8 wins. I'm going to go under that 8.5 total. I think that's a little too much. All right, let's move on. The Fighting Ricky Pasternaks are next. Syracuse, the Orange. Here we go. Can the Orange get over this number? They are at 5 this season. That's kind of where Syracuse usually lands when they have a decent team is 5. They were 5-7 a year ago. They got a lot of guys back from that team. Logic would tell you they should be a little bit better this year. What do you think of the Orange?
They never have a quarterback.
And they never do. And they don't this year either.
And that's why they can't win.
Yeah.
Play teams tough. They really do. They're going to upset somebody along the way. They do this every year. They got UConn and Wagner. Those are 2 wins that they're going to get. But then here's a key game for them. Can they beat Purdue?
Yeah.
At Syracuse. And then Notre Dame comes in there. I don't think they beat them. So they get Purdue. That would give them 3. Then they got Louisville, Virginia, Florida State at home, and North Carolina State at home. How many they got to get? 5?
Yeah.
Well, this is one of these games, Dennis, that Louisville's got to win. That's one they got to win. 5. I've got them at 4, so I'm going under.
It's a big problem because, like the Louisville game, I don't think they'll beat Louisville.
I don't either.
They do go to make it, they're going to win. I don't think they're going to beat Purdue.
No, either.
Maybe Virginia, they can beat Wagner. They'll definitely beat. Then like North Carolina State, that's a tough game for certain. Like they can't. I don't think they'll beat them, even though it's at home. You mentioned Notre Dame. They're not going to beat them. No. So where are the wins coming? I'm going under.
Yep.
I just don't see how they're going to do it. So I will take under on Syracuse. All right, let's go on to Virginia now, and we'll see a little bit better of a team here, although they have been known to really disappoint in the past as well. A team that just can't ever really get under the hump, or over the hump, I should say. Tony Elliott is there now. He takes over for Bronco Mendenhall. It was decent, but it was basically same old Virginia, 6-6 type teams. 6-6 a year ago. Not a lot coming back here. Brennan Armstrong's not terrible at quarterback, but he's not great either, in my opinion. 7.5 seems like a lot. What do you think about the Cavaliers?
Yeah, you pretty much hit the nail on the head. They got Richmond. They got Old Dominion. Yeah, they should win those. Here's the key. Can they go to Illinois and win? I don't know. They should, but I don't know. And then they got Coastal Carolina. That's a toughie if you're Virginia, All right. Can they go to Duke and win? I don't know. Probably. But here's the key again. Once again, Dennis, I hope you're still listening. They got Louisville at home. That's a swing game that was go one way or the other. But I think 7.5 is pretty darn high. So I'm going to go under.
The ACC is littered with teams like Louisville, Virginia, Pittsburgh. Like, it's just like, North Carolina.
Boston College.
Boston College. It's just like, I don't really know if Louisville can go to Virginia and win or not. And I don't know if Virginia can beat Louisville at home or not. Like, they're just shitty. They're just like mediocre teams. They're not, like, about call them shitty. They're not shitty. They're just like, ugh, you know?
Remember last year when I was doing the previews there, and I texted you and I said, I just have been wading through this ACC, and this is the boringest thing to pick because every team's identical.
Well, you know, like, Louisville goes to Virginia October 8th, and it's like, it's going to be like, 21-14 or 21-17, and you're going to watch it and be like, neither one of these teams are very good, and I don't know. For all of these teams, I've went the under, every one of them, and I'll go the under again. I'll go under 7.5 for Virginia. I think that's
Russ said the same thing before we ever started. He goes, let's just take the under over every one of these.
I feel like most of these are going to hit the under. I think North Carolina State, Wake Forest, and Clemson are good because they've got a lot of guys back from teams that were good last year. The rest of them, I don't really know.
No.
And if you want to go on that and keep that theme going, Virginia Tech. They have been, just on a downward spiral. New coach this year, Brent Pry, takes over as the new head coach. They were 6-7 last season. They're at 6.5 here. That's another one. I don't know what they're all about. They don't have hardly anybody back from that team last season. Tell me about the Hokies. What do you think about them?
They're another one. They don't have a quarterback.
No, and they haven't for a long time.
No. Their defense just plays their butts off, but they can't move the ball, and eventually they turn it over, and that's it. And they lose, and they somehow keep games close, and they can win some. So what are they? They're 6.5. Oh, God. Same old.
Yeah.
3 winnable games. Old Dominion, Wolford. I don't know. They got to go to Liberty. You would think they could beat Liberty. You would think.
Mm-hmm.
They got West Virginia at home.
See, that's another one. West Virginia should be in the ACC because they're just like these teams.
Well, then they play every one of them. So
exactly, and it's like, what the hell? Like West Virginia at Virginia Tech. I don't know what's going to happen. I know it's not going to be a very good game.
And West Virginia, just get out of the Big 12 and go where you belong.
Exactly.
And, yeah, but anyway, oh man, let's see. They got Boston College at home, Georgia Tech at home. I mean, they should win those. They should win at Duke, and they got Virginia at home. That's 7. But can they win at North Carolina? Can they win at Pitt? Can they beat West Virginia? I don't know. I'm on the bubble on this one. I think they're going to be a little bit better, because I think they were under a lot of pressure with the coach going to get fired if they didn't win games, and sometimes you don't play very well. But 6.5. I'm going to give them the benefit of the doubt, and I'm going to go out on a limb and say over.
I'll go under. I can't. I look at their schedule. It's like, yeah, they could win. They might win, and it's like, yeah, if they win like 8-4, I wouldn't be shocked. But it's like, they're not. They're going to lose some of those games,
Yep.
Like, that's a different, like a good team. The difference between a good team and an average team is like when they have those home games that are swing games, they win them.
Oh, they do.
And like the average teams kind of like split them, and it's like, yeah.
I agree.
All right, let's move on. West Virginia. I really like, or not West Virginia. Wake Forest. I really enjoyed watching Wake Forest last year. I'm sure if I was like a big fan of them, I wouldn't have, because I hate losing games like 58-55.
Yeah.
But they were fun to watch, and I really liked watching Sam Hartman, the quarterback at West Virginia. I said it again, at Wake Forest. I think he's just a little, tough-nosed quarterback who can really sling it. He threw for over 4,000 yards last year, 39 touchdowns, 14 interceptions. He's back. A lot of that offense is back. They got to be better on defense to have a chance to really like make a run at this thing. 8.5. I'll just spoil it. I'm going over 8.5 for Wake Forest. What do you think of the Demon Deacons?
I think it's probably one of the best coached teams in the country. Mm-hmm. I mean, it is hard to recruit to Wake Forest. I mean, that's a tough place. No tradition to speak of. And the guy usually has turned out good teams. And they've been decent the last 10 or 12 years. What was the guy? Dave Groh, I believe, was the guy that was before that was really a good coach.
Jim Groh.
Jim Groh, okay. A very, very well-coached team that gets the most out of their talent. And you're right, the quarterback is good. Most of the offense is back. The schedule's doable. It's the defense. They were so bad. And when you're bad, you go on the road. Your offense doesn't play quite as good usually. You got to get stops, and they can't. So let's look at their road games. And when you look at them, they're not that tough.
No.
At Florida State and at Louisville are the two toughest. Well, those are games they can win. They got Clemson and NC State at home. So, that's they can win those two. So you're going over. You're going 9 with the Demon Deacons.
Yeah.
Okay. Non-conference schedule. VMI at Vanderbilt, Liberty, Army. They should win those.
Perfect scheduling.
Yep. Their schedule is very doable. Boston College, Syracuse, Duke, all at home.
Yeah.
Okay. That's 7. Can they beat Florida State and Louisville? If they do, you got it right there. And I think they can.
I'm not sure if they beat both of them, but I think they split them.
Okay.
And I think they pick up a win somewhere else.
You got North Carolina at home.
I just think a quarterback goes a long ways in college football. And you look at North Carolina State, they've got a great quarterback, in my opinion. You look at Wake Forest, they've got a great quarterback. They're equalizers. And like we were talking about, all these teams minus Clemson, the talent is fairly similar. I mean, not the lower ones, but it's comparable. But when you have a quarterback, that's what makes the difference in these games, right?
Right. Well, I was wrong on North Carolina State. It is at North Carolina State. So
they're not going to win that game. No. But Wake Forest and Louisville, talent-wise, probably very similar. But if that game gets close, I trust Sam Hartman is going to pull it out. Although Malik Cunningham's not bad either. I shouldn't slight him like that. But it's going to be tougher to stop Hartman. I'm sorry, So if they're in a close game at Florida State, I think they're going to win.
I think they beat them. Yeah.
Yeah. So
you got them you're going over.
Yes.
I'm going to go under. I got them at 8.
All right. Well, after that case I just made about how these quarterbacks make a difference, you said I don't think so.
No, I don't like their defense.
All right, we got 2 more to go. That's the ACC. Thank God that's over. We got 2 more to go. Notre Dame and BYU. I was looking forward to these shows except for this one. I don't care about the ACC. Notre Dame and BYU, 2 independents that we need to talk about. Let's start with the Irish. Now, the over-unders on with the Irish and BYU are 8.5. All right, so 8.5. Marcus Freeman, first-year head coach at Notre Dame after Brian Kelly leaves for LSU. They've got a lot of guys back. The quarterback situation at Notre Dame, I think, is going to dictate how this goes for them this year. Also, this is a much tougher schedule than they had last year when they went 11-2. What do you think about the Irish?
Totally agree. New coach. He can recruit. Can he coach? Can he lead? We don't know yet. We don't know. Seems like he can, but we don't know. They blew a big lead in the bowl game.
Yep.
Which wasn't a good start for him. But anyway, that doesn't mean a whole lot. The quarterback's the key. Can they get consistent quarterback play? Because they better with the schedule that they have. Their best player on offense is a tight end coming back. Their best player coming back on offense is a tight end. When in the heck is the best player a tight end going to carry a team on offense? He's not. So that's not a good sign. Their offensive line is solid. Their defense is solid. They're gonna play hard. So it comes down to the schedule, and like you said, it's hard. At Ohio State, don't they open the season there?
Yes. Yep.
They're not beating them. Not there. And then I've got some other games here. They got BYU. They got Clemson. They're at USC. The North Carolina game won't be easy. That's on the road. Marshall's, they'll beat them. California comes in there. Stanford's always tough on Notre Dame. UNLV, at Syracuse, at Navy, Boston College. Those are all games they should win. So 8.5. I think they get over that. I'm not sure they get much over that, though. I got them about 9, maybe 10 is their limit, their ceiling. So, yeah, I'm going to go over.
I think it's going to come down to that USC game. I think they'll be about 8-3 going into that game. I'm not sure they're going to beat BYU. That game's in Las Vegas. So there'll be a lot of BYU fans, and there will also be a lot of Notre Dame fans. Let's not get twisted on that. Clemson, I don't think they're going to beat. Ohio State, I don't think they're going to beat. And like I said, I think it's going to come down to that USC game. You went over. I'll go under. I'm going to go under. I think they go.
I got them at 9.
All right, I'm going 8-4. So we're different on that one. Russ thinks Notre Dame could cover. Oh, you're freezing a little bit there. Are you back? Can you hear us?
I'm back.
Okay.
Yeah. Yes.
You went 9. I went 8 with Notre Dame.
I hope you're wrong because that means that USC beat them.
I think USC is going to beat them.
Well, I do too. But, when you don't have a quarterback, it's so hard to pick, because you don't know what that quarterback's going to do. You just don't know.
Yes. That's the problem.
Yeah.
Right? If they have a quarterback and he kind of gets to rolling, they're going to go USC and they're going to win. But if the quarterback situation isn't great, they're going to lose. And like I say, you just don't know. And honestly, that's why I'm worried about Oklahoma, because I don't know how they'll be at that position. So there you go. All right. Final one, BYU.
At least he's proven himself.
Yes. That's true, but not at the big level. All right.
He'll be all right.
We got to get over this. BYU, the last one, they're also at 8.5. What do you think of BYU Cougars? I think we've lost Papa Dude officially. Maybe he can reconnect and we will get back Papa Dude. I'm going to text him right now. Tell him, reconnect if you can hear me. Exit off and reconnect. I think that will help. The internet at the hotel lasted long enough to get to the BYU Cougars here, and then it went away. So BYU, I'll go through mine real quick here. They're 8.5. That's what we've got them at, or that's what the Vegas has them at. I think this is a pretty good team. We talked about quarterbacks and the problem with ones that we don't really know a lot about. BYU has Jaron Hall. He's very solid. He was first team independent. I didn't know there were teams for independent, but he was first team independent last year. 20 touchdowns, 5 interceptions. I thought BYU has got a very good quarterback here. We got Papa Dude back. Can you hear us?
Yes.
All right. BYU. I went over. I'm going to go over 8.5. What do you think on BYU?
Well, I tell you what, if they go over, they're pretty darn good because their schedule's pretty tough. Mm-hmm. You like them to beat Notre Dame. I see where you're coming on that. I didn't get to hear all that. Did you pick them to beat Arkansas?
I think they will beat Arkansas. Yes. Sorry.
I think they beat Baylor. Mm-hmm. I've got them at 9, so I'm going over.
Yeah, I think that's about right. Now, again, maybe Notre Dame can beat them. Maybe Arkansas could beat them, but, they also could win games that maybe you think they could lose. Like, would you be shocked if they beat Oregon in week 3? I would not be shocked.
Oh, not at all.
So they do have a schedule that's very tough. Hey, if they were going undefeated there, they should be in the playoff. That's how good the schedule is for sure.
Yeah.
Overall, I do think they're going to get that 9 win total there and go over. I just think the quarterback's good enough. So I'm going to go over at 8.5. All right, Papa Dude, that's it. That's what we got. Your internet held up pretty well. I'm proud of it.
Well, I do want to answer one question there. Isaac, that you're on, and just hang just a minute here. Local player from our area that we all know, Aaron Aminu Muhammad, who played here, went to Georgetown. Everybody thought he was a solid NBA draft choice.
Yeah,
well, he had a decent year at Georgetown, but not very good. Georgetown was god awful.
Yeah, they were bad.
He came out early. He shouldn't have. and I think his career's over. He wasn't drafted. He was a free agent, did not play well in the summer. I think he's done. I think he had some horrible advice is what I think.
So he did not – I haven't been following him. He did not play well for the 76ers?
No. Hardly played at all for their summer team. Should have stayed in college another year. I mean, he was okay. The problem with Aminu, he's not a very good shooter. He's not a great outside shooter. He's okay, but he's, 6'6", 6'7" in the NBA, you better be able to shoot it. So anyway, just wanted to answer that.
That's too bad because that was a can't-miss player, and yeah.
7 points because Isaac follows him in his best summer game with 7 points. You're not going to make the NBA scoring 7 points in a summer game.
That's sad. That's sad.
Yep.
He should be an NBA player, but anyway, that just shows you how tough it is to make it.
You better believe it.
Yeah, that just shows you.
He was a great player.
Yes, he was. He was probably the best player in this area in a long time.
Oh, yeah. He was something else.
That sucks. Well, hate to hear that. Sorry, everybody that was a big fan. So, Russ asks, how long you staying up at the spa? We are leaving this time next week. We'll probably be back on the road home. We are coming back up for the Travers, though. The plan was to go home and then, I don't know if you missed the first of the show or not, Russ, but when Kelly Von Hemel's running a horse in the Travers, I'm going to be there, and that's the case. Ain't Live Grand, winner of the Iowa Derby, is going to run in the Travers, so I'm definitely coming back for that. But as far as weekends before that, I will not be there. So 4-Star Dave weekend, I won't be there. Alabama weekend, I will not be there, and then back on the last weekend in August for the Travers. And by the way, the last weekend of August is the week 0 of college football. We'll have about 12 college football games as well. And I'll never forget being at the Travers last year and Nebraska getting beat by Illinois. That was so funny.
I think they start out in week 0 this year.
Yes, they're going to get beat by Northwestern week 1.
Let's hope.
Yes, that game is in Dublin, I believe.
Oh my God, is that not the dumbest thing?
Yeah, I believe that is correct. So,
how far has Nebraska fallen to say they will go to Dublin, Ireland to play a game? Right.
I know.
That's crazy.
Russ, you were there Thursday and Friday. Oh, I was there Saturday and Sunday. So we just missed. Well, that's all right. Maybe next time. All right. Any closing thoughts before we get off here?
I think we go to the pros next week, right?
That's right. We'll do the NFL next week. So big NFL preview coming up. Preseason games happening. One has happened and some more will happen, I think, this weekend. They get going. So, going to be fun. NFL next. So
on the Dudes Who Bet Daily or whatever that's called, what did we end up last week? What was our overall?
Yeah, if you're not watching the Dudes Who Bet Daily, you might want to check it out. It is really starting to turn around. We've had 4 positive weeks in a row after 2 bad weeks to start. We've really got a nice groove going on the show. We talk a little horse racing. We talk a little sports. It's definitely a very fun show. It's only 15 to 20 minutes. Unless Jared's on, then it's an hour. And we really try to get you in, get you out. So, yeah, last week we went 14-5 with our bets. What we do, we combine everybody's bets and keep a winning total. We were up over 10 units for the show. So, yeah, it was really good. Really, really good.
We don't bet the easy ones either.
No. The rule is if a horse is going to be below 4 to 5, it doesn't count. And like minus 120 or 130 is the lowest you can go in sports. So, and Papa, dude, you had 2-3 dogs last week. You had 300 dogs.
Yeah.
So,
baseball.
Yeah.
Baseball. Of all things.
Right.
And Russ, we did the SEC already. You can watch that on YouTube. That was what, Aaron, about 2 weeks ago?
Yeah. So the SEC was 2 weeks ago, Russ. I think it's Nick Saban and Jimbo. There's a picture of them on the thumbnail on YouTube if you want to check that out.
Go on YouTube and you can get our expert opinion.
That's right. All right, guys, we're going to get off here. We will be back. I don't know what day next week. I might be traveling on Tuesday, so we may have to delay it. I don't know. But we will be back at some point next week to do the NFL. So, all right, guys, we'll see y'all next week.
Thank you, guys.
This has been a presentation of RacingDudes.com, your destination for all things horse racing and sports betting. Whether you want free winners, expert insider picks, up-to-the-minute trackside weather reports, or podcasts and videos for bettors of all skill levels. Never